Yeah, I think it starts with well, I think you need buy-in first. Like, if you don't have
Good.
team buy-in before we go in to do like a team sync day, we can do all the things, and you can feel like we went through all the stuff and we have a really great plan and the team is in alignment. But if there's no buy-in and there's no honesty, it's gonna feel good for like 2 months, and you're gonna
Yeah.
be like, "What the heck? We just did all this and worked with Brittany. Like, what is wrong?" So it's first it's buy-in, and it's this culture of honesty and knowing that, like, your team, knowing that they can be honest with you about like, "Hey, Tamara, this is what you've put on my plate. I don't feel fully equipped to do that, or I want to say I don't love it. I think there's always things in a job that you don't love to do, but I think there's a difference when it's like you're chronically giving me this thing and I feel like I'm underperforming all of the time. That is a
Mm,
point when it's like this probably should move to someone else,
yeah,
or like in your
that's
case you just
good.
hired someone. So if we come in and we're like, okay, we're going to put all of our cards on the table as a team because we've all bought into the fact that we believe in this mission and vision, we're going to be honest with each other about what's frustrating or what we love, or like a really great indicator is like, how many meetings after the meeting are you having? Like, the team met and now who's having like this side meeting where the actual stuff comes out? That can all happen inside of this space of like, let's sync up. And so then visionary has the dreams and they put the things in place and they're like, okay, this is what the priorities are going to be. And and then you can say, okay, you love this, you said you love this, is this still accurate? You said that you don't love this, but you're willing to do it in the short term, maybe until we have another person. So that's like, if there's no honest dialogue and team buy-in and a plan from you that they trust, like, that's the thing, the culture of trust. They trust you, that they said that you will find them a solution if they keep taking one for the team for the short term, or whatever the plan is. They trust you that their concerns were heard. And then I think everything moves way more efficiently because you don't have to come to work feeling like, oh, I can't really speak my mind, or I feel like I need to avoid it because I don't really know what I'm doing and she's not going to give me the support I need. That stuff is all eradicated. Like, we got it all out on the table. Now we
Yeah.
can do projects with honesty. This is
And
like
I think that
passion
there's
stuff.
like even an entire like element to what you were saying, and even the intro video of like, let's put it all on the table, let's put it all out there, let's open up. And it's not just to extrapolate the ideas, it's to extrapolate the stories that we're telling ourselves associated to the ideas, which
Mm,
is perhaps the fear from the visionary, and then also the fear from the team of like, I think I'm going to be putting in all this work, but I'm not going to be getting paid more. Or I have to do this. I was just exposed to the idea of critiquing your talents or critiquing your task, not your talents, in a like, loathe, or love category. What do you like to
mm,
do? What do you loathe doing? And what do you love to do? And then formulating your operational, day to day from there. And
mhm,
understanding that if you're spending all your time on the loathe category, and like I love that you said, there are seasons where we have to do the things we don't like to do.
mhm,
And there are seasons that you get to do a lot of what you love. But I think it's those stories associated to the limiting beliefs and the fears that if we don't get those pieces out, then even that vision won't be carried out well. And so while
mhm,
there might be a really great roadmap to the vision, if the people carrying the vision to fruition aren't on board, it's going to be like the Israelites were stuck in the desert for 40 years, right? And we can't get to the promised land because the
mhm.
people weren't stewarding the promise of that moment well. And so I find that really interesting. And I don't even know, when we were dissecting your framework, if that was a part of what we discussed, but I really think it should be something to tap into. You said, let's sync up. I think that's another really cool tagline that you could
Mhm.
be utilizing from like that tech. We're all tech oriented, even if you're not technically sound. We've got that idea of synchronicity. We've got that idea of like, this has to connect to this. And in order for this video quality to turn out this way, everything has to be connected and synced together. And
Mhm.
that feels seamless. That feels like there's synergy. And so understanding that the team has to be there before we ever say yes to the vision.
Mhm. Yeah. And it can happen like in a VIP day setting, like if we just, like we know we're really going to take a deep dive and then in a continual, like we need to continue this conversation. This is not a one and done.
Yeah.
Maybe that can like crack it open.
Yeah.
And things came out, like your first session in therapy and you're like, whoa, there's a lot that
Totally.
just came out. But then you
Yeah.
need to keep going back because it's
Yes.
like we didn't fix it, we didn't work through it in one time. But as a team, as a leader, knowing like, okay, they trusted me with their stuff and their concerns. And so now we can continue to
Yeah.
do check-ins. Where are you at? There's actually this really cool app. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like it's for larger teams and you can send out anonymous like, hey, how are you feeling about this? And then they give like little emoji responses or whatever. And you
Interesting.
take I think it's called Pulse. You take your team's pulse
Oh, I
anonymously all the
love
time.
that.
Yeah, it's very cool. And
Cool.
so you can just, so that's a great, I mean, that's, you could do that in a lot of ways
Yeah,
without the
sure,
app.
sure.
But the point is like, how do you consistently check in? Because trust will erode if you say we're doing this thing and then you don't check back in with me. It's like, but
So good.
we opened up, we had a big day and it all came out. Like what you said you cared, like what happened, right?
Y'all
And
didn't know you
it's
were going
months
to
later.
therapy today. You are. Welcome to the Fit and
Right.
Faith podcast.
Right. So
But it's
yeah. So
so accurate. I love that statement. Trust will erode. And you said earlier, building a culture of trust. And I think if we don't do that primarily, none of these dreams, none of these visions can come to fruition. And I want to speak to the solopreneur who doesn't have a team yet. You have to be building a culture of trust with yourself, right? It's like building that social contract, saying that you're going to do something and actually following through. Because if you don't trust yourself and you're not actually being a man of your word, is what we say in our household, are you being a man of your word, from the song, which is so good by Maverick City, is this knowing that if you can't trust yourself, how do you anticipate hiring people who can't trust you likely either, because you're not following through. The follow through is the trust, right? And it's the same with, we expect getting saved, being baptized. Okay, I'm washed white, and now I can go off and adventure back because God will forgive me again, right? You can venture back into that old mindset, back into that old way of living, back into those old habits. And then you're just going to come back and forth and you're going to live a to and fro lifestyle and no one is going to trust you. It's the same thing with the boy who cried wolf, right? Like no one could trust him because he was waving a white flag of surrender. That was a lie. And then when it actually was time to help him, nobody was there. And so I hate to see someone who's in that solopreneur journey not keep themselves in that place of integrity to trust themselves enough to follow through with the dream. And honestly, this happens a lot, even from a perspective of like podcasters, right? I'll have all these podcasters in a room. We'll bring the podcast to life. We'll put it on Apple, like everywhere, everyone can hear it. The pilot is ready. It's out into the world. They maybe get 1 or 2 shows done. And then 3 months later, I'm like, whatever happened to so-and-so? Whatever happened? And there's a limiting belief. There's an excuse that follows suit. And then you stop and something else gets your attention. And now you're trying to start cultivating something new. So talk to us about the person who consistently is starting something new and never actually bringing the things to fullness of life, fullness of victory.